Hey guys, so in this video, I want to talk about 7 habits of successful students. The habits I'm going to share today are quite simple. However, if you do them regularly, they are also sort of life-changing because personally, they make me more productive, more organized, and just overall a much more efficient student. I thought it was the perfect time to make this video since I'm sure a lot of you want to improve your grades in the new year or build some good study habits, so I hope this helps you out. Before we get started, I quickly want to thank Goodwall for sponsoring this video. If you don't know, Goodwall is an amazing community for impact-driven students, and I'll talk a bit more about them later. I genuinely believe you'll find it interesting to learn what they are and what they do. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. The first habit is not leaving things till the last minute. This is a habit I've developed in the last year or so. Before that, I used to procrastinate everything to the last minute, and that made my life so much more stressful. The funny thing is that I would even justify it by saying that I work better under pressure, and procrastinating is the right thing to do because in the end, it's going to improve my efficiency. And if you tell the same thing to yourself, then let me be the one to tell you that this is just an excuse to procrastinate and nothing more. So the habit is basically to start your work as soon as you can. This is going to take a lot of stress out of your life. You're going to be more focused and efficient when doing work, and just overall, this will improve your productivity. At first, you're going to struggle with getting started, so I'd recommend setting deadlines for yourself to give you a bit of a push to get started on your schoolwork. I like to set a timer on my phone and challenge myself to finish the studying or whatever else I have to do before the timer rings, and that's all the motivation I need to sit down and get that work done. The second habit is to study every day. When I say this, I don't necessarily mean that you have to study every day. What I mean instead is that you should space out your studying over several days instead of cramming everything into one study session. There are several reasons for this, but the main one is that you can only be focused for a short period of time every day. Because of that, when you try to do all your work in one day, you're going to be less efficient and it's just going to take you longer. Not only that, but also it's much easier to stay motivated when you have to do an hour or two of studying every day. However, it's much harder to motivate yourself to sit down and study for the entire day because you didn't do any work for the rest of the week. The best way to implement this habit is to make studying a part of your daily routine. A small tip I have is to create a study plan for yourself and plan exactly what you're going to study every day or whenever you want to study, and that way you will be able to manage all your schoolwork much more easily. The next habit is to ask questions and get help if you need it. If you have a question or something that you don't understand, don't ever be afraid or shy to raise your hand and ask that question. Teachers are there to help you and guide you through the process of studying. So use your opportunity and ask as many questions as you have, as many as you need, until you understand everything clearly. This may be just me, but whenever I don't raise my hand and ask a question, that exact same question always comes up on a test or a quiz or even worse, an exam, and I just end up losing points. So don't be like me, raise your hand and ask any questions you may have. However, in some cases, it's best to turn to the internet for some help. The place that I usually go to is Goodwall. It's an inspiring community where students and young professionals can connect and discover opportunities. I really like Goodwall because you browse a feed based on your personalized recommendations, and you can connect with other people all over the world who have the same interests as you. Also, the people on the platform are so inspiring that every time I'm lacking some motivation, I just go on Goodwall, and after a few minutes, I'm as motivated as ever. To help you guys get started on the community, I'm hosting an exclusive Q&A on Goodwall. All you have to do is download Goodwall with the link in the description box, and then you can post your questions about studying, productivity, or anything else, and I'll make sure to answer as many as I can. You just hit the plus on the app, select question as a post type, and then type your question. The only thing to remember is that you need to add my name, Ellen, as a keyword so that I can find your question, and then you just need to post it publicly on Goodwall. I'll even feature some of the best questions on Instagram and give you guys shout outs, so definitely come participate in this. I think it'll be super fun and helpful, so download Goodwall and ask your own questions so we can chat and be friends. Moving on, the fourth habit is to preview the chapter before class. Knowing what you're going to cover in the next class is really helpful. It allows you to take notes faster, understand things better, and better structure your notes as well. So it has multiple benefits. One thing, however, I want to emphasize is that you don't have to do all the studying and all the work and kind of be ahead of class. Instead, you just want to take 2-3 minutes to skim through the next chapter of your textbook just to be aware of the concept and everything like that. Another tip I have is to write down anything you don't understand that well on a sticky note. So if that question isn't addressed during class, you can raise your hand and ask that question and then write down the answer on that sticky note. Some of the chapters can be particularly difficult and complex than others, and in that cases, I like to take a few notes on that chapter, nothing too crazy, but just a few bullet points to summarize the entire thing. It just really helps me out. Again, this is something that doesn't have to take up a lot of your time. Just make it a part of your everyday study routine and you'll be good to go. The next habit is to be as organized as possible in school. A little bit of organization can make a huge difference in terms of how stressed you are in school, because if you're organized, you'll be able to manage your work better, your time better, and everything is just much easier when you're organized. Being organized can mean multiple things. One of the most important ones is that you have an academic calendar where you can keep track of all the assignments, projects, all the deadlines, and also exams, quiz, test dates so you can prepare for them beforehand. Another part of organization is organizing all your notes and study materials so you can find whatever you need super easily and quickly instead of having to look through all the papers you have for hours and hours. Being organized as a student can also mean managing your time and having a schedule, a to-do list, or a specific planner that helps you stay productive on the daily basis. I know that at first it can be quite overwhelming to start getting organized because you don't even know where to get started. So in one of my upcoming videos, I'm going to break down exactly how I plan and stay organized as a student step by step for you guys. So if you're interested, just make sure that your notifications for this channel are on so you don't miss that video, because I promise it's going to be a really epic one. The next habit is to use active study methods instead of passive ones. In case you don't know the difference, I'm going to bring a few examples to help you understand. Rereading your notes or trying to highlight them would be a passive technique since you're not actively recalling anything, whereas doing flashcards is a very active study method because you actively try to recall the material and then test and see if you're right or not. Another example of a passive study method is rewriting notes from lectures or textbooks again and again. However, the active version of that would be to summarize the material in your own words. A few other active study techniques include creating mind maps, charts, flow diagrams, or any other summaries. Another one is using self-testing, doing sample test questions or past papers to ensure that you really know the material. Starting to use active study methods instead of passive ones will help you study smarter, not harder. However, if you guys don't really know the difference between active and passive study techniques, I'll be more than happy to make an entire video about it and share some of the most effective study methods you can use. So if you're interested, just let me know in the comments down below and I'll be sure to make it. Moving on, the next habit is to study if you ever miss a concept. Unfortunately, sometimes you get sick or certain personal matters come up and you have to miss school days. And if this ever happens, it's important to study the chapters that you missed as hard as you can. Maybe your teacher talked about something during the class that you missed that could come up on a test. Try borrowing notes from a few different people so the information is all correct and complete, so you don't have any missing parts of the lecture or anything like that. I'd also recommend taking a few video lessons on the internet. There are multiple YouTube channels as well as websites such as Khan Academy that can help you. This may only be me, but whenever I miss a chapter, it kind of becomes my weakness. There are always little things that I don't understand that well, or a question that suddenly comes up on the test that wasn't in my friend's notes or in the textbook. So I would definitely recommend studying as much as you can on those concepts so they don't end up hurting you and you don't end up losing points because of these things. Before we wrap up the video, let's quickly do the question of the day. Let me know in the comments down below, how much do you procrastinate on a daily basis on a scale of 1 to 10? So for me, I'm gonna say about like 3. I don't procrastinate too much, but I cannot say that I don't procrastinate because that would be a big lie. So anyways, thanks so much for watching till the end of the video. I really appreciate it. If you have any requests for videos that you want to see in 2020, feel free to comment them in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys super soon in another video. Bye!